Welcome to your reset with Christiane Piano, where the purpose is to support you in releasing all that you are not, so the truth of who you really are can emerge. This is accomplished through working with the body-mind from an ontological perspective. We use various modalities to support you in supporting yourself exactly where you are, so that you may return to an experience of wholeness and ease, moment by moment. Deep reflection is one of the greatest tools through which to do this. To take a moment, to pause, assess, reflect, and literally and figuratively reset, come back to center, and move back into your one and precious life with increased clarity and purpose. Hello, this is Christiane Piano, and this week's episode is a reflection on gears. When you think of gears, what do you think of? Most people have associations with cars, bikes, some kind of machinery that is being operated, no? I mean, what did you just think of when you thought about gears? If we take a car, for example, there are engines that operate on automatic and those that are manual. Depending on where you live will determine what you are accustomed to. In any case, for this reflection, you will want to tap into an experience you have of shifting gears. If you have driven both a manual, that is a stick shift, or an automatic, you will notice a difference in the driving experience. When you drive an automatic car, you don't have to think about shifting gears, as the car does it automatically for you, the engine specifically. If you are riding a bike, say it's a 1-speed, 3-speed, or a 10-speed bike, you will have more options and choose accordingly based on the terrain you are navigating. So, what does all this have to do with body, mind, well-being, and growth? Well, first and foremost, if you are interested in creating a life, you will need to learn to manage your energy. There are many currencies in the world. One that is most known is obviously the financial currency. And you have a bank or somewhere else where you place your money, invest it, and manage it. But less commonly spoke about is the currency of your life energy. And your body is the location for your energy management. And part of this will be determined by your capacity to be efficient in learning to shift gears. So I invite you to take a moment now to pause and reflect on, if you were to give a percentage to the amount of energy reserves you have right now, what number would you place it at? What is required for the day in front of you? And what will your account look like by the end of the day? Anything you want to do in life requires spending energy. And if you're operating in the red or yellow or green, and how you go about building those reserves back up will determine greatly whether you are able to actually bring your visions into reality. Whether it be a project of some sort, developing further some aspect of your life, or simply cultivating your relationship with yourself or others. So perhaps take a moment to think about where you spend most of your energy. Is it in taking care of somebody else? Doing household chores? Perhaps it's your job, your career. Where do you spend your energy in your mind with your thoughts? What types of situations are you managing in your life? And how much energy is spent there? How much is invested in building back up your reserves? Now, as always, being honest with yourself is extremely supportive, as we can only work concretely with reality. When we face it, the actuality of it. Now, perhaps this is new for you, perhaps not, but either way, you can be truthful with yourself in this moment between you and you without judgment and analysis or going into explanation. Just sit with it and see what comes up. This will change from day to day, week to week, month to month, season to season, year to year, and the seasons of your life. So just take a square look at today, right now, directly in the eye. Getting real so that when you prepare to take action, it is honed and channeled. Clarity infused with honesty and courage is a game changer when it comes to creating a life, moment by moment, living into it, if you'd like, stepping into it. You know, funny enough, I found this great quote by Charles M. Schulz that I'll share with you now. He stated, "Life is like a 10-speed bicycle. Most of us have gears we never use." I was a bit surprised when I found that by him, but nonetheless, it's actually a reality, and hence I'm speaking to it. So, now that you have some clarity, let's take the next step. If you were to think of your body as a machine for a moment, now your body in reality is not a machine, but for the sake of analysis to support you in creating a distinction, let's try it on. As you are probably already aware, there are multiple systems operating in the background of your body at all times, and the efficiency of these systems have hefty influence on your state of being, your experience of yourself, and the world. And you do not have to think about them at all. They just go on, running in the background, all on their own. For example, your nervous system. It is actually the electrical wiring that connects every part of your body back to the brain. The somatic nervous system, which is also known as the voluntary nervous system, is the one responsible for carrying sensory and motor information to and from your central nervous system. There are approximately 86 billion neutrons that spark together and pass messages from the tips of your fingers to your toes up to the command center in your brain, which decides, for example, whether to pull your hand away from something hot or to continue petting a little doggy. These messages shoot lightning fast through your body so that information about what you're touching arrives in your brain at the moment your skin makes contact. We have conscious control over part of the somatic nervous system. For example, you decide to stand up, and an intricate series of electrical and chemical reactions occur along 43 pairs of nerves, a super speed domino effect that starts in the brain and runs down the spine and out from the central nervous system to the peripheral nervous system. And then with approximately 80 billion nerve endings firing, you rise from your chair. I mean, it's really incredible when you take a moment to look at what is going on in the background. It's awe-inspiring. It's like, wow, all this is happening within me. Yep. Then you have what's known as the autonomic nervous system. And this is the branch that runs from the brain to all your essential organs that are full of billions of neutrons and nerve fibers. And it runs silently, not really under your conscious control. Unlike, say, deciding to lift your hand and then lifting it. The organs, blood vessels, glands, and other systems controlled by the autonomic nervous system are run by the subconscious mind. Now, if you had to think about them, you would not be able to function and navigate at all in your life. The immune, endocrine, and nervous systems, just to name a few, are working really hard in the background, day and night. And for them to function optimally, they need to have certain elements in place. And this is where gears come in. Before going further, take a moment to pause and see if you can tap into what gear you are operating in within your nervous system as you listen to this episode. What do you notice? Now, it's a subtle awareness I'm speaking to, but perhaps you can tap into it. I invite you to take a moment and try. Scan your muscles. Are any of them activated? Are any of them tense? Scan your mind. What is the pace of your thoughts? What thoughts are present? Notice your breathing. What is the cadence? What is the depth of the inhale versus the exhale? Where is the breath traveling? Are there any emotions present? Where are they located in your body? And what is their texture and feel? What about your posture in this moment? Can you scan it without adjusting, analyzing? Just observe the actual unfolding at the moment. These are all clues as to what gear you're in your operating system. Now, right before you hit play to listen to this podcast episode, what gear were you in? When you woke up this morning, what gear were you in? When you went to bed last night, what gear were you in? When you pause during your day, assuming that you do, to nourish yourself with a meal, what gear are you in? Pause and be with these questions just for a moment. If your answers are, I have no idea, that's cool. Afterwards, you can begin to put these observations into practice and come back to this episode and listen again and see what shifts have unfolded. You can only begin exactly where you are. Okay, so now ask yourself the question, how many functions have gone purely automatic in my life? That one may take a beat, yeah? I invite you to take a mental note or jot it down. Okay, so how long is that list? And of the functions that have gone on automatic, which one would you be willing to bring back into conscious awareness to begin to work with, to explore, and perhaps bring a hint of play with it to begin to practice managing your energy through gear shifting? If you were to describe the speed of your life, daytime and nighttime, what gear do you need to be operating in to maintain this speed? Do you ever downshift or upshift? Do you ever turn the engine off? So many of us find ourselves moving at the same speed and only turning off when we either go on vacation, perhaps, but this is actually not a given, or when we take some type of medication to help ourselves, whether it's in focusing, in sleeping, in managing daily life. How many people do you know that are taking some type of medication, like sleeping pills? Or how many people do you know that complain that they have no time for the things that really matter to them? How many times have you thought to yourself that you would like to take some time to slow down and perhaps sit and enjoy a slow meal, or take a bath, a walk? Sit or walk in nature and listen to the birds or the sound of the ocean waves. How many times have you found yourself wanting to slow down, but it seems like every time you try, there's something that just gets in the way? Whether it be your schedule, somebody else's schedule, or your mind creating reasons as to why, or simply a discomfort in the attempt to slow down. We were all born with this incredible system within our bodies called the nervous system. And without going into the infinite details of the symphony of this system, and for simplicity's sake on how it operates, there are two basics to keep in mind: the sympathetic mode and the parasympathetic mode. When you are active and moving through your day, you are in the sympathetic. And when you are sleeping deeply and or resting, you are in the parasympathetic. Now again, this is a very basic breakdown, but for the sake of this episode, it will do. Obviously, if you are a listener that happens to have a deeper knowledge, by all means, tap into it as you listen and reflect. Modern day life has created this deep swing between people either operating full-blown in their sympathetic and then either never coming down out of it and on full speed, top gear, or the pendulum is full on or full off. No subtlety in degrees. If you think about your life right now, what's your tendency? Many people are simply stuck on and are challenged in falling asleep or staying asleep or focusing for long periods of time, have memory challenges. And with the constant on and driving at full throttle or near to full throttle, many imbalances come about. Now, I will not be going into those specifically in this episode. I will save that for another one so we can stay on task. Nonetheless, a lack of ease is constantly present. And from this lack of ease comes all sorts of stuckness, which is a felt experience in both body and mind. From tight muscles to tight thoughts to fast movements, and if prolonged, can bear fruits to all sorts of diseases. Nonetheless, some people are operating in full-blown parasympathetic, either due to burnout or other challenges, and cannot seem to build up enough energy in their system to shift out of it. So here we come to shifting gears. To shift gears and move about takes present moment awareness. And with practice will come a refinement that leads to finesse. When you have too much speed in your nervous system, prior to moving into any type of practice or activity that requires slowing down, you will first need to siphon out the speed. If not, you will go through the motions but we'll have the thought that sounds something like, oh, I can't wait for this to be over, or something similar. You may even experience frustration and wanting to move faster, or simply stop and interrupt it, saying to yourself something like, this isn't for me. You have many gears, and the option for shifting is always available. Learning to be present to your usual, automatic, your regular, and what that looks like in a 24-hour period, even down to the days of weeks and the months of the year, is helpful. There are different rhythms available to us. The question is, are you using them and allowing them to support you and your overall body-mind well-being? I often talk about being with life as it is. And in order to be with life as it is, you will need to learn to tap into your gear shift and support yourself in navigating all of life as it is and whatever it is offering up at the moment to stealthily surf the waves. How often do you shift into a rhythm of healing and rejuvenation? Do you have a practice of doing this on a regular? If you do not, you may want to ask yourself why, as your life literally depends on it. Long-term health and well-being, aging with grace, pausing to appreciate all that is in your one and precious life, requires the ability to take pause, adjust, and shift your gears so that you do not burn out or fall into a deep state of resignation. There are many ways of learning to shift your gears, and unfortunately, this is not taught in school. And the home we grow up in often determines the speed of our lives until we are autonomous and can determine how we will spend our time, on what speed, and what will get our attention. And this can prove challenging. But even if you are a teenager or a young adult living in your parents' home or sharing a space, there are conversations you can have about the speed and the impact it is having on you. There are practices that are readily available to you to siphon out the speed, slow down, and allow your organs and internal systems all the way down to the cellular level regenerate and provide you with deep sources of vitality. If you are a subscriber to your reset, feel free to reach out if you are not sure which is your best option based on your time availability, your current state, and energy levels. I will provide you with personal guidance. We need to not only show up for ourselves on the daily and start off small to build our inner resources and care for our inner terrain. We need to make ourselves a priority. If you do not have your health and well-being, then life is a constant struggle. If you are interested in discovering just how much agency you have regarding this, feel free to reach out to me. Your consideration of yourself and your self-value is deeply interconnected with how much time you will dedicate in caring for yourself. This topic will be discussed soon in another episode, so consider a seed planted. In the meantime, I do hope that this episode has supported you in reflecting on the fact that you do have options and the speed you are operating at on a 24-hour basis, and the gears at which you are operating on can be shifted. And for your body, mind, well-being, and health, the sooner you learn, the better. I am here for questions and conversations. Simply reach out. I look forward to hearing from you on what resonated. Feel free to share this episode, like, or follow. If you are interested in working with me on any level of body-mind well-being, whether it be through individual body-mind maturation work sessions, perhaps participating in a series, individual privates, or through my video on-demand services, if you have questions, if you would like to engage on any level, feel free to schedule a free 15-minute consult in the appointment section, www.christianepiano.com, or email me directly at growth@christianepiano.com.